Good morning from a very hot and sunny Brands Hatch. It's the London Historic Trophy racing today. So we've got some classic cars on track. So let's get in there and see what we can get. So you want to know what's in the bag?
Oh, what's in the bag?
Got the Sony A9 with the Tamron 35-150, 85mm 1.8. See if we can get some interesting stuff in the paddock with this. And then the big one. 200 to 600 Sony. This is Nigel Mansell's race-winning Honda. This is the car that he won the British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch back in July '86. And of course, Nigel Mansell famously had the most impressive moustache in all of motorsport. So I think we just appreciate that here. Superb. At the back of the garages here we've got a display of Group C racing cars. These are endurance cars from 80 through to the early 90s, designed to be very fuel efficient and have a lot of downforce. How much downforce do you want in your car? I'll have all of it, all the downforce. And here I found a good use for the 360 on the stick. Stick it in there, bird's eye view, lovely. Not much room for the drivers in there, but what a cool viewpoint. I've wandered up here to the inside of Druids to watch these single-seaters racing around the top, and this is always a good spot to get some fast action panning shots. Usually shooting here around 60th or an 80th of a second, if you're taking notes, of course. As you may know, Brands Hatch is celebrating its centenary this year. So, as you of course know, Brands Hatch is named after Brands Hatch Farm that was on this site, and they were approached by some dirt bike riders who wanted to race their bikes around the farmland as they'd seen the curve of the hillside and thought that was good for a racetrack. So UK motorsport could have changed considerably if that farmer had said, no. I've made my way into the paddock here to get some shots of the cars on display and getting worked on. I will admit to not being the best at getting car shots of cars on display like this. Much prefer getting panning shots of cars in action, but I'll have a go, you know, see what we can get out of this. If you can follow me on Instagram at Rich Byam and then look at any of the people I follow, they're all better at this than I am.
Didn't catch that, did you?
I'll edit it.
Nah, definitely leaving that in. I was looking forward to seeing these cars on track later, not the usual thing you find being raced at Brands Hatch. And a special treat today is all the cars are being raced around the GP loop rather than the Indy half of the circuit. So you get to wander around the back side of the track. So later on in the video you can watch me going around trying to take shots at different spots on the GP loop that I don't normally shoot at, and see if I actually get anything decent there. Oh, the jeopardy. And I've found my way into the more modern area of the garages with people working on these beauties. And just here we've got the Jordan Racing Team. This is Andrew Jordan's racing team, the former British touring car driver. Always had the bright blue Pertec livery on his car, which I would say is the best, so obviously my decision is final. And as a BMW employee, I certainly approve of his choice of cars. These prestigious E30s are definitely the choice of champions. Here's a question: when you got a car this good and it looks that pristine, would you really want to risk racing it just in case somebody else bumps into your pride and joy? Not mentioning any names. The eagle-eyed of you will have spotted that I'm wearing my cap back to front in these videos. Not trying to be Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit. I just kept smacking myself in the head with the Insta360 that's mounted on the top of my camera, so not trying to be cool, because definitely not.
If you look back through some of the pictures, I've seen it in white with a sort of like 5 stripes in each wing. I've seen it in red, I've seen it in yellow, the previous owner has been
If you had a cool car and you were taking it to Brands Hatch, you could have brought it in and displayed it here in the main area. No surprises that I wasn't invited with mine. My BMW is a little bit tatty compared to some of these beauties on here. Now here's what I wanted to see, the Group C cars in action. So they did a couple of slow laps first and then picked up. Just listen to that. If there are any wannabe motorsport photographers watching this that want to go to Brands Hatch, hello there. If you're shooting here, up to 200mm is fine for the length of lens. If I'm using 200-600, I could almost be standing at the opposite end of this area. But 600mm, if you stood here, you can shoot them coming across the finishing straight and heading towards the first corner. got the 200 to 600 lens on for a bit of variety. This is ideal for shooting the cars as they reach the bottom of the hill and then go around a Graham Hill bend. You can get a good panning shot as the cars come round Graham Hill bend if you angle the camera slightly, so put that in your notepad, angle. I'm hiding here in the one shady area of Brands Hatch as this was the hottest day of the year, and they did say it was hot enough to boil a monkey's bum. So here I've walked past the top of Druids and made my way to the cars racing on the GP loop now. So this is coming down Hawthorne Hill from under the bridge, and then they're heading down to the Hawthorne Bend. And here you see the cars racing. It's quite a mixed field. We've got Minis versus Jaguars here, which is always an eventful race. I've crossed over the bridge to the other side now. If you want to get some nice panning shots, wider is probably better here to get the cars going past because of the speed they're going. Something like a 35mm would work wonders here. I'm using the longer lens to try and get them as they come under the bridge and then framed by the Brands Hatch name. So we have a little treat of a walk through the woods to get down to the Hawthorne's Bend. This is not sped up, this is just my natural walking speed when I'm at a motorsport event. Probably should have changed lenses here. The 200 to 600 is probably a little bit on the long side here. 35 to 150 be better, but some of these shots came out alright. After the Hawthorne's Bend, this section is the Derek Minter Straight, famously the inventor of the mint. I'm heading now to the gap in the fence where we might be able to get shots like this. Not too bad at all. This is a good spot for panning through the crowd. This is Dingledale. I didn't name it, not my idea. But if it's busy, you can get a few interesting shots of the cars going past. Got to be shooting around 1/20th to get the cars visible through the people. I should say I'm not a professional motorsport photographer. I'm just a monkey with a camera who likes taking pictures. Been doing it for about 10 years or so. Been Brands Hatch probably 20 odd times. Quite a few of them on the GP loop, but not as many as I'd like. Next port of call is Stirling's Bend, so this is a good one to get the cars coming around the corner and then accelerating away. This is often very busy on a race day for British Superbikes or British touring cars at bigger events. A smaller one like this, we should be okay to get a clear spot. Ideal spot is this gap in the fence here where that guy's going to head between. If you've got the 200-600 lens, you can get a decent shot through the gap as long as the tree hasn't overgrown too much. There we go, not too shabby. I think those came out quite well. So it's time to move on and heading down to the next section. So this is the start of the GP section. So the cars have come round Surtees Corner and then accelerated away down towards the Pilgrims Drop. Fences are a bit on the high side, although just in front there's a small gap that a long lens can focus through and get the cars coming around the corner. Now I know you're wondering, how do they remove those crashed cars off the track? Well, this is that beauty of a machine here. I just look at that. Racing yellow and designed to pick up cars and move them. Genius. And we're round to the final corner of Brands Hatch. This is Clark Curve. Got to use a little gap in the fence to get some clear shots of the action. Reasonable panning opportunities, but the background is not really the best. And now it's the final charge along the Brabham straight to the finish line. Quite a good opportunity for a few slow pans, and then we are done. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did make it this far and enjoy it, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, please just leave a like. Thanks very much, and I'll see you at the next one.